Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Dr. Vincent Esposito, and today we are going over my top 10 plant-based proteins. Now, before we get into that, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. That'll let you know when I'm coming out with new videos. Usually they're coming out twice a week. With that, we'll get into the list, and just to preface it, by no means is this list exhaustive. This just happens to be my top 10 in no particular order, and I'm going to go over kind of some of my favorite ways to use each of these as well. So without further ado, let's get into it. To start off, we're going to talk about lentils. Now, lentils are a great source of fiber, of folate, of manganese, and of iron. One of the reasons I love lentils is because they're super versatile. So they take a little while to cook. Generally, you have to boil them for about 20-25 minutes, depending on how long the water takes to evaporate. It's 1 part lentils to 2 part water. But I use them in vegetarian meatballs. I just serve them on their own with sauteed garlic, onion, some parsley. You can make a soup out of them. Obviously, lentil soup is very popular. So it's very flexible and very versatile, which is one of the reasons I love eating lentils. On my list is almonds. Now, almonds are a great source of iron and magnesium, as well as B vitamins and vitamin E. Personally, I tend to buy the raw ones. You can buy them roasted or roasted with maybe just salt if they are in a good quality oil, something like an avocado oil, coconut oil, even olive oil, and extra virgin olive oil. If they are roasted in a vegetable oil, I'd suggest staying away from the roasted ones and just try to roast them yourself. That's actually one of my favorite ways to use them. Is I love roasting them in my oven here with salt, and then I could kind of play around with whatever spices I want. They go great on tops of salads as a snack on their own. You could use them in other dishes like granola or in oatmeal or even in trail mixes. You can make almond milk out of them by simply adding them with water and usually a couple dates if you want some sweetness, and maybe some spices, maybe like cinnamon. So almonds are really flexible and I use them a lot, and that is why they are number 2 on my list. Third on my list is chickpeas. Chickpeas are a great source of fiber, of folate, of iron and manganese. Similar to almonds, super versatile. I love roasting them. You can even saute them on the stovetop. You could do that with a bunch of different spices. They go great on salads, as snacks on their own. You could blend them up into a hummus with another item, tahini on this list. We'll get to that. But again, chickpeas are super versatile. You can use them a lot of ways. You can mash them. You can, again, roast them and just have them as a snack during the week. It's really a great way to do it. One of my favorite ways is to roast them with salt, pepper, cumin, and even paprika, smoked paprika especially. It's one of the best things I have for lunch. So that's one of my favorite ways to use it. And that is why it's number 3. So number 4 and 5 kind of go together. They're flax seeds and chia seeds. They're both great sources of omega-3 fatty acids. They are also high in antioxidant content and a variety of different minerals. I use them. They're very famous, I think, for being used in smoothies a lot. They help thicken smoothies up, so that's great. I add them to maybe coconut yogurts to make maybe a parfait or something like that. They're great in trail mixes, on tops of salads. They're great for that as well. And you kind of just shake them almost on top of anything, especially the chia seeds, and they don't have much of a taste, which is great, but you really get that high antioxidant and omega-3 fatty acids, which you're not really getting from a ton of food sources. So they're great to kind of sneak in when you can. So those are a couple of my favorite ways to use both of these. My list is another one of my favorite nuts. They're cashews. So they're a great source of magnesium and other minerals, as well as B vitamins and folate. Cashews, very similar to almonds, are very, very versatile. I'm seeing them used a lot more nowadays in things like cashew cheeses, cashew milks. There's even cashew yogurts out there. Similar to almonds, I just love roasting them. They're really good for that. Even if it's on a pot or pan with just some salt, great for a snack. Again, because they're so soft, they're great to blend into homemade. If you're looking to make like a vegan cheese, usually cashews are the base of that. So again, really flexible ingredient in a lot of situations. So that's another reason why I love cashews. Another one that has become one of my favorites over more recent years especially is tahini. Now tahini, if you don't know, it's actually just ground up sesame seeds essentially into a paste. So they have the same quality of sesame seeds. So they're going to be very high in selenium, which is great for detoxing and things of that nature. Tahini is great, I've noticed, for making sauces. If you want to add a creamier texture, or dressings for that matter, they're really great to add like a thickness to some type of sauce or dressing. And that's really the two main ways I use it, probably. The other way that's a big one is hummus. So to really create hummus, essentially, you're using tahini, chickpeas, usually a little lemon, olive oil, garlic, salt, pepper, and you're just blending it up. And you have a hummus. Now from there, you can get really creative with it. You could add different herbs, different spices. You can add even different vegetables, some like red peppers or beets, or you could even use different beans if you want it. There's tons of different ways you can go. There's almost an infinite amount of combinations, but none of that gets done without tahini, because it adds kind of that kind of creamy texture to it. So if you're looking to add that type of texture to what you're cooking, I'd suggest using tahini. It's fantastic for that. Black beans, next on my list, are a great source of folate, magnesium, manganese, even iron as a vegetarian source. Black beans, another one that is super versatile. You can use them a lot of different ways. You can actually make a hummus with black beans. It's very interesting, a little different. But again, so many ways you can use black beans, whether it's sauteing them with, onions and garlic, or mashing them and making them almost like a refried beans. You could use them in tacos. They could be a standalone dish. A lot of different ways you could use them. You can make them in a soup. One of my favorite things to do is actually make a black bean soup with peppers, onions, celery, carrots, and really kind of make it kind of like a really hearty dish. So black beans are really great. Something I use almost on a weekly basis, along with a lot of these on this list. And again, another reason why it's on the list. So next on the list is pumpkin seeds. They're a great source of vitamin K, of folate, of antioxidants as well. So you get a lot of different uses from them. Again, pumpkin seeds, they're great for garnishes or almost on anything. They're great as a snack on their own. You could roast them. You could I like adding them as garnishes to a lot of things, whether it's salads, whether it's even just side plates, whether it's with, a vegetable or something like that, or in slaws, they're great. So a lot of different uses for them. Their taste isn't very overwhelming, which is nice, and it adds a little bit, probably more of a crunch, which again, if you're looking for that sort of texture, it's a really great way to incorporate pumpkin seeds. And again, something I use very often. So yeah, that's why it's on the list. Finally, we're gonna close this list with quinoa. Now, quinoa is great because it's a complete protein, meaning it contains all the essential amino acids, which we don't necessarily get from a lot of plant-based sources. So that's why it's great. Other than that, good source of fiber, good source of magnesium, good source of iron and zinc. So you're getting a lot of different minerals, which is great. Quinoa is an easy substitute for rice dishes if you want to switch it up from something like brown rice or something like that. Even pasta in certain occasions. Personally, I prefer it to almost as a trade-off for rice. So I use it really in that way mostly. You can make salads and then add quinoa to it. That's actually another great way to just kind of bulk it up if you want a salad for a full meal. Great thing to do is just make some quinoa ahead of time, and so you have it to add on. Yeah, that's kind of a couple of my favorite ways to use it. In terms of the complete proteins though, so if you are interested, please comment below. Again, like I said, not all of these are complete proteins. I would love to do a video on different types of complete protein pairings with using plant-based options. So I'd love to talk about those if you want. So leave a comment below if that's something you're interested in or like to. So just something for me to gauge going forward. And that's going to wrap up our list today, guys. So this is, again, my top 10 plant-based proteins. I'd love to hear what your favorite are, so please comment below. I'd love to see your favorite ways to use them too. So again, I'd love to make this a place where we can learn from each other. So that's great. I'd love to hear what you have to say. If you haven't yet and you've liked this, please subscribe and like below, hit the notification bell. Again, we're coming out with stuff like twice a week. So yeah, it would mean a lot. And until the next video, we'll see you next time.